Hi, and welcome to this edition of The Buzz, the show that we tape here right at Abington High School, where we try to bring you all up to date on what's going on in the hallowed halls of Abington High, especially in regards to our student athletes and all of the fantastic fun we have out on the basketball courts, the lacrosse fields, the soccer pitches, the football fields. A lot of always great times in Abington and a lot of great stories that come out of the athletic successes of our teams and their students. I have with us today two members of our girls Green Wave soccer team. We have Molly Joyce, who's seated to my far left, and Brenna Howley. Welcome aboard, ladies.
Thank you.
Now, you two are both senior captains of the Green Wave girls soccer team. And talking to your coach, you guys have been active members of the soccer team for 4 years.
Yep.
Before that, were you guys, how'd you get involved in soccer? Was it a youth sports kind of thing that you get going?
Yeah, we started both in youth soccer.
Yeah. However early you can.
Yeah,
That,
I think the first year, yeah.
Little tykes?
Yeah.
Yep.
So you knew each other even at that level?
Yeah. I'd say
Yeah,
so.
we were like class friends. Like we had classes together.
And Brenna, you're a midfielder, so basically you play middle of the field, little offense, little defense, try to clog up the middle when you can,
Yeah.
drive the offense. You are what soccer people call a keeper, which is a goalie to those who aren't familiar with soccer. How did you get into the goalie mode?
Well, it was just the type of thing where like when you're like in a little huddle and you're like in second grade and they're like, who wants to be the goalie? And I'm like, oh, I do. And I just liked it. And I started doing like goalie clinics with Brenna. And then I just stuck with it, got different goalie coaches over the years and always loved it. So
You really do. You enjoy it. It's you kind of like I know you're both captains, but the goalie kind of is just like in hockey. You kind of run what you see in front of you. You know, you're always barking at your teammates, I'm assuming.
yeah.
Is that true, Brenna?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
And explain to people the role of a midfielder. What is it? You know who a forward's up front, and you got defenders up back. What's the midfielder's responsibility?
To like control like the middle of the field and like distribute the ball well, like look for the outside passes and like take from the defense and like move the ball up the field mainly.
Now, you guys, obviously, the soccer teams, both the boys and girls teams, play right here at Abington High School, and then the turf. I call it the new turf fields because they're relatively new. We were talking before we started taping that most of the high schools in this area now have turf fields. You prefer playing on turf rather than grass? Both. What's it like as a midfielder and as a goalie?
The ball definitely moves like a lot slower on grass. Like it takes a lot to like get the ball going, and like I think the pace of a game on turf is a lot quicker.
Definitely.
I don't know if that's just like the way it is, but it makes it go slower, and it adds like extra like toughness to the game.
Is it different for a goalie too?
Like I like them kind of for different reasons. Like turf is definitely hurts more to dive on.
Yeah.
But grass is so unpredictable. Like you don't really know where the ball's going.
Right. It's you're going to get a realistic bounce on the turf because it's all flat. Whereas, as you guys know, you never know what's in front of you.
It's very unpredictable.
Divot with grass. That's right. There's also now that we have the new fields, you guys can play in the afternoon. You can play in the evening under the lights.
Yeah.
Do you prefer either one over the other, or is there a difference in when you're playing under the lights versus afternoon games?
I think usually like when we play after school, like with the sunset, like the sun kind of has an effect. Like if you're playing on like the far side, like staring at the sun. But I like playing under the lights. I think it's a lot more fun.
Yeah,
under
it's
the
fun.
lights.
Yeah, and I think sometimes under the lights you get a couple people, more fans can attend the game that might not be able to get there in the afternoon.
Right, exactly.
Are there local schools that you guys really kind of circle the calendar, like this is the team we want to play hard against, we'd like to pull a victory over these guys?
Definitely Rockland.
Yeah.
Why Rockland?
It's just always been a big matchup, and I feel like most of us know a lot of the people on that team.
Yeah. It's always competitive, and like like you said, we know like almost all of them on the team.
I mean, I ask that question to almost every guest that we have with student athletes, and it's always the universal answer. The Abington kids say, we want to beat Rockland.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if we ask the Rockland kids, they say the same.
Oh yeah.
And I think you're spot on. When I think part of the reason is that growing up, you just kind of, these kids. And whether they're friends or people you really don't like, you just want to beat them for either reason, right?
Yeah.
So everyone wants to have bragging rights, especially if you have to do it. So let's talk about the team as a whole. How is the team? Is it an intense team? Is it a fun team? Is it a loose team? How do you guys play the game?
I feel like it's kind of all of the above. I mean, it just depends on the moment. Like I feel like before practice, like when we're just chatting, pasta parties, like we're just having fun, like a family. But then like when we're on the field, it gets like very intense. Like we're all there to
down
win.
to business pretty quickly. And I assume, like any good team, supportive of each other. You're not going to have a great game every game. You got to make mistakes, and it's next play, right?
Yeah.
How do you guys, as senior captains, what's your role, especially with the underclassmen? I'm sure that they're a very important part of your team, Brent, trying to strengthen their abilities, right?
Yeah. I think like with some of like the tougher teams that we face, like we try to do our best with like encouraging them, like stuff is going to happen, and like kind of just have to move past it, like forget about all the stuff that happened, and like realize that we can get like over it in certain games and like situations, and trying to like keep the morale like positive, like composing ourselves mainly.
Yeah.
Who are some of the people in the team, Molly, that whether they're other seniors or some of the underclassmen that you really think are doing a great job or really just giving their 100%?
Well, we've talked about how the two people we think of like a lot is Zoe Maslenka and Carly Agnew. They've both really stepped it up this year. They were first on varsity last year as freshmen, and Carly like has improved so much even in just a year, like on defense.
And they're sophomores this year.
Yeah. And Zoe gets hat tricks all the time.
Yeah.
Really?
Really
Yeah.
impressive, yeah.
Zoe's, I think, a basketball player too, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And you guys also participate in other sports here at Abington High School. What do you do, Brenna?
I play softball.
What position?
I play shortstop.
I mean, I know the answer to this because I've seen you play, but
Yeah.
for the viewers at home, I
Yep.
guess. Shortstop. Softball is a very successful program. Do you like one over the other, softball versus soccer? You just kind of intense when you're on both?
I like both equally, but I think softball is more competitive, and I find soccer more like loose and fun. But I take both like seriously.
Yeah. Different games.
Yeah,
Different
completely.
experiences.
Yeah.
How about you? What is it, your other sport?
I play lacrosse in the spring.
And don't tell me you're a lacrosse goalie, too.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm a midfielder in lacrosse.
You are, all right. So how's it like being outside the net, then, for you as a midfielder?
It's definitely different. It's definitely different. Definitely have to get in shape really quick for
Yeah.
lacrosse season.
Whereas you're standing in the soccer goal
Yeah.
for most of the game, and now you're really doing a lot of running during lacrosse.
Yeah.
Same thing to you. Do you like soccer more, or like lacrosse, or is just do you like it for different reasons?
I definitely like it for different reasons because I mean I do very different things in each sport, and I like them like pretty equally. But I mean I always have a soft spot for soccer because I just love playing goalie and always have.
It's a fun game, and it's a lot of camaraderie. I mean, when I was in high school, soccer was kind of in the shadows and stuff. And
Yeah.
it's really, really built up here at Abington High School. And I think a lot of that is to the youth soccer program, right?
Right.
That's your feeder system that you guys were in. Safe to say, if you were talking to an 8-year-old out there in TV land, what would you do to tell them to just kind of encourage them? Is it important to run and get in shape that way, or is your footwork more important, or kind of need the whole package?
I'd say like skill is very important, because I think like it has definitely an effect on how like you play, obviously, regardless of like physicality.
Yeah.
But I think
Yeah.
like
I think a little bit of everything. Just stick with it. Keep playing. I think playing is the best way you can improve.
yeah.
Yeah, really.
stay with it.
And playing against sometimes better players makes you a better player.
Definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
Almost in any sport, that's going to be true.
Right.
So, other than you are the consummate student athletes. One of the reasons you were picked to be on the show is because the people who pick know that you guys are kind of quality people here at Abington High School. You represent our school and our community. Not only are you superstar athletes, but you also kind of do some fun stuff on the side. And I wanted to ask you, Molly, you have a little directing debut going on here at Abington High School. Tell us about Clue.
Yes, I'm co-directing Clue, the fall play this year, with Miss Susan Mullen, and it's super fun. It's looking like a great show. It's November 21st and 22nd, if you'd like to go. But I mean, I've always loved theater, and like this is a very new opportunity, and I'm really glad that I did it because it's like a very different side of it. Because usually
Yeah.
I do tech crew and I'm stage managing, but this is very different.
Oh, so you've been involved in the kind of the behind-the-scenes stuff before
Yeah.
this. Now, is Clue a true play, or is it a musical, or a little mix?
It's a play, but there's like backtracks of music.
Yeah.
So there is music, but it's a play.
So for people at home, if you have not been to one of the Abington High School drama presentations, you got to go. Whether you know a kid in it or not, it's outstanding. And I'm sure you can attest, with the new auditorium, it just is open up a new world for all the artists and the talent that's in this school. That's maybe not an athlete, but the singers, the actors, even the techs behind the scene. It's really cool to watch you high school guys just kind of come out of your shells and put on great shows. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to see a few of them, and I highly recommend them. So what was the date for that again?
November 21st and 22nd.
All right, 21st and 22nd. You can get tickets at the door. You can get them online earlier if you want. And it's Clue, which everyone knows that board game. So we're not going to tell you more about the play itself because you're going to have to figure it out as they go. There'll be little clues to figure. And both of you, Brenna, I understand. I should congratulate you. You're both not only good students, not only good athletes, but you're good students. You're both in National Honor Society.
Yes, we are.
Congratulations!
Thank you.
When were you inducted? As seniors or as juniors?
Juniors.
As juniors. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you guys have favorite topics, subject matters at school here at Abington High School? You got a favorite class?
I like more science-based classes. I like anatomy a lot. I think
Really?
it's very interesting.
And you?
I'd say like art is my favorite class.
Yeah.
Can't really.
Do you have a vision for what you guys might do after Abington High School?
I'm looking to do nursing and hopefully play softball.
Great.
I'm looking into mechanical engineering and
Really?
maybe like a tech theater minor so I can somehow end back up in theater.
Fascinating. I know people who are in both both of those lifestyles and careers, and they're just great avenues to go. So I wish you the best of luck. I'm sure you'll do well. Anything else you want to talk to about your team? I mean, I know you have Kate Casey's your coach. She was a fantastic soccer player here at Abington High School not too long ago. I'll be nice, Kate. And then you have assistant coaches, Sammy Zena and Mr. Golightly. How are they? I mean, are they intense coaches, or are you guys is it a lighthearted practice? What is it that keeps the team motivated every week?
I think it's very similar to like how the team is rolling, which like is something I love about our coaches. Is they're very good at like matching the energy of the team. Like if there's like a horrible week where like we're all just stressed about something, or maybe we had a couple bad games, like our coaches just know like how to run a practice to like make sure that it's very productive and we're all like focused, but no one is being like put under too much pressure.
Right. And that it is a team. There's no I in the word team, but there is in victory. So,
Right.
we like that. And tell us about, do you hear the sounds and the energy of fans on the sideline? How important is it to you to have people on the sidelines?
I think it's important when it's positive.
Yes.
We love positive, like cheering. But I think it's gone both ways this year.
Yeah.
But definitely we like to have the noise, but sometimes it gets to be a lot.
Yeah.
But I think usually we do like it.
It's like the same as a team rivalry. There's always parent rivalries
Right.
between towns.
So a lot of, let's say, parent coaches on the sidelines and all, or whatever. And what's the relationship between the boys soccer team and the girls soccer team? You guys have do you cross paths a lot? Do you work together? Do you go to each other's games? Or do you have just completely separate schedules and don't really get to see each other?
Well, we did have like overlapping games against Rockland, so like we were here the same time as they were here, and then we both went to Rockland. But I think we tried to get to most of like each other's games. I think that shows a lot of support.
So you had a varsity girls and varsity boys game at the same night.
Yeah, like a doubleheader.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's a great idea.
I think it was fun because we both got to like sit and watch and then play, and then I thought that was really fun.
And I think there's parents for both the boys and the girls who would like to see the other, because even though their child might not be on that team, they know those players because they played youth soccer with you guys, and it was all soccer is one big happy family, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
I want to thank you guys for being on the show because, again, Molly and Brenna, if you haven't met them yet, you should really take the time and shake their hands when you see them. Everyone who knows them speaks very highly, and I'm not bluffing or anything here. I wish you guys the best of luck here in your senior year. I mean, you had a fun soccer season. You're coming into the winter and spring when you guys are going to be back out there on the fields in the spring, softball and lacrosse. Yep. So perhaps we'll get you back on the show and you can give us a little update on those sports if you don't mind.
Sure,
That'd be fun to have you. Until then, keep going with soccer. Wish you the best of luck. We're waiting for the playoff brackets, or hoping for some good news for Abington the Green Wave. We're going to take a quick break, and I'm going to bring two more superstars from Abington Green Wave Sports. You'll have to wait and see who they are when we come back after a quick break, and we'll see you in just a few seconds.
Hi, I'm Chris Winova.
And I'm Michael Leary, and we're interns here at Abington Community Access and Media.
though you don't have to be an intern to get involved.
You can always volunteer.
Here at Abington Cam, we have a state-of-the-art production studio where you can create all types of podcasts, shows, PSAs, interviews, you name it. It's all up to you. So, what can you do to get involved?
To start off, you can monitor audio levels with our intriguing state-of-the-art audio board.
Or perhaps you'd rather be behind the camera shooting all the action.
Maybe you'd opt in to be in front of the camera and maybe be the star of your own show. Maybe you'd rather direct the production via the switcher. Ready one, take one. If you want to learn more, come on down to the studio. We always have room for more.
If you're interested, please don't hesitate to reach out and come by and see what you can do here at Abington Cam.
All right, we're back for the second segment of our this edition of The Buzz. And if you drive around Abington occasionally, if you're down Route 18 or Glenowitz Way or perhaps Washington Street, you'll see a bunch of kids running around jogging together, usually in a pretty tight group, and you're like, what are these kids doing out there? That is probably members of our Abington High School cross-country team. And I am fortunate enough to have two of the members of the Abington High School cross-country team with me here today, and they are Vangy McCleary and Alyvia Platka. Welcome aboard, girls.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very happy to have you guys here because cross country, first of all, congratulations. You guys are having a great season. And you just told me that you are now champions of the South Shirley Tobin Division, right?
Yes, we are.
That's awesome. And I want to talk to you about cross country because I think it's one sport that a lot of people don't know about, because it's something that it's not a true spectator sport. You don't sit in the bleachers and watch a game in front of you. You guys are out in the woods running for your lives, trying to beat the other guy that's behind you or whatever. Let's talk about where is your course that you run for Abington High School?
Ours starts right behind the Frolio, so basically where you would see a football game.
Yep.
And then we go like into the cemetery, just do loops, and then come back.
You go in the Mount Vernon Cemetery and you run around. And for people who aren't familiar with the Mount Vernon Cemetery, there are paved driveways in the cemetery, and there's also some dirt paths in the cemetery. And that has traditionally been the cross-country route for Abington. It's changed over the years.
Yeah, it just actually changed this year.
Yeah,
It
right.
recently changed because of the construction to the field.
So how long is the route?
It is around 3 miles. Last year, and it just changed this year, so last year it was around the mid 2 miles, and so now it's increased to 3 because we changed it. So it's 2 loops.
So is there like a minimum for the league that your course must be at least 2.5 miles or at least 3, or is everyone a little different?
I'm not sure. Everyone's a little different.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's a little over 2 miles, but a lot of the courses are right around 3 miles.
So like a lot of other sports, can I assume that there's an advantage to running on your home course because you're very familiar with it, the twists and turns, where the routes are, where the things, the trip hazards are? Is that true?
Yeah.
I would say so, yes.
Yeah?
You know where you need to get closer to the turn, so you're not running as much. And it's definitely because you can set points where you want to surge or you want to pass people.
You know when to put the afterburners on at this certain stable energy.
And we practice there a good amount before the meets, and we'll put flags down before the meets, so we have an idea of where the whole team wants to surge or where we want to speed up at certain points of the race.
So you guys, what year are you guys at Abington High School right now?
I'm a junior.
I'm a sophomore.
And leaders of the team, really, which is great. We have a very young girls track team, cross country team, right? How do you guys train? Do you train as a group?
Yes,
right?
we do.
So do you run the same route all the time? Or you're like I mentioned before, you're also out in the streets at times.
Yes, it changes very often. It depends what type of day, whether it's a hard day, a long run, a shorter run. So the routes change.
It's a big mix. We have a couple of different runs that we'll do occasionally. So if we're doing a long run, we'll go to the Grove, or we'll run random various places around town, and then sometimes we'll have workouts at the track.
So what's a long run? I hate to ask that question because I'm not a runner. What's a long run to you guys?
It usually depends on who the person is, but it's around 4 to 6, I would say.
4 to 6 miles.
Yeah.
So who decides the route and the length of it? Is it a captain? Is it someone get designated on the team?
It's Mr. Campbell's our coach.
And he runs with you?
Sometimes.
Okay. So he just sets you off on a route.
Yeah.
It says, I'll see you in half an hour or whatever it takes.
Yeah. Basically.
Interesting. Now, is there a part of your training that involves, sprinting so that or is it all long distance training?
We do like, we practice like beginning of the race, so like surge, like when you want to surge, or like strides.
I would say it's a good mix of both. It's definitely, we do less speed work than track because it's a lot longer, but we do have a good mix. Like how she said, the day before a meet, we'll do some quick starts, or if we have a track workout, we'll work on running faster than we would in a race, so we're more prepared.
So tell us, viewers at home, and I'm naive to this, how is the scoring? So you might be running against another high school, and sometimes there's 2 or 3 high schools running together at a meet, right?
Yeah.
How is it that you win a meet? Like, it's obviously someone who gets first place, that's a good thing.
Yes.
But, let's just say you're running against Norwell. You might be in first, and then the next second, third, and fourth might be Norwell runners, and then fifth and sixth is Abington. How does it work out? How do you score and win a meet?
So it takes the first like 5 players of each team, and it adds up like basically where their spot is. So wherever they get in like the race is like the number of points you get.
Really? And you get more points for being in first?
And being in back and last, I guess. So like first you would get 1 point, like second that team would get 2 points.
Okay.
So basically it's the like lower amount of
lower
points.
score wins.
Lower scores win.
Wins.
All right, great.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So
Very different.
is there a strategy? Like if it's the top 5 that are scoring, sometimes you're going to have more than 5 team members running.
Yeah.
So it's just whoever gets there first, great.
Basically.
It's for the team, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. And how is it that you're working with each other to kind of improve each other? When you're out there jogging as a group, are you talking to each other, or is it just silence through this route, or how do you work?
We are very chatty.
It's funny because it's obviously a very individual sport once you're out racing, but in practice, it's very much all teamwork and all talking to each other and motivating each other. Every single run that we go on, we're talking the whole time. Every workout, everyone's cheering each other on, so it's definitely not individual in practice.
It's very like a very positive, like close together type of sport.
I think a lot of people are afraid to join the cross country team because it's like I don't know how to run long distances. I've never done it before. What would you say to that type of person?
Like you eventually get it after a while. Like me starting, I couldn't run without like stopping for probably like half a mile.
Yeah.
And now I'm able to run like 5-6 miles with like being perfectly fine.
And when did you start? As before you were a freshman, or is it when you were younger? Or?
8th grade.
8th grade
is
you
when we
started.
were allowed to join the high school.
Yeah.
I started 8th grade as well. I had played soccer up until then, and I decided to just try something new. I wanted to see how it went, and I've ended up really liking it.
Well, I think Abington High School has really liked it too, because I hear that you guys are also doing very well individually and really leading the team. So congratulations.
Thank you.
I know you're not going to blow your own horn here, but I know that you guys have set some nice personal records and others. So congrats. Cross country is different though from the track team, the track and field team. Cross country is in the fall.
Yeah.
And you guys are also members of the track and field team?
Yes, we are.
What's the difference?
So track and field has a lot more like a variety of choices, and they are, I mean, there's up to the 2 mile. So I guess it's still, there's like long distance in there, but it's definitely not the same.
Usually track does have a bigger team just because there's more variety, because you can run either the 100 meters all the way up to the 2 mile. There's like field events as well, and obviously track, you're not running on the home course or anything like that.
Right, and the field events are things like the shot put, the javelin, the high jump, the long jump, and all. And are you limited to the number of events that you can compete in when you're on the track and field team in the spring?
I think it's about like,
I'm pretty sure it's 2 running.
yeah, and
There's
then like
3 events in total, 2 running and 1 field event.
yeah.
Okay, so you tend to pick which one you excel at.
Yes.
Whether you're doing the 100-meter sprint or you're going to go the 400 meters or whatever you're going to do. And you see a lot of cross-country members also on the track and field team?
Yeah.
Yes, a lot of people in cross country either will go to distance, or they'll, for track to work on their speed, they'll go to something a little shorter just to like try something new.
Yeah.
And I think, I know actually, for track and field, you see players from other sports jump on the track and field team for the spring for a couple of reasons. A lot of it's just to stay in shape.
Yeah, definitely.
What's that dynamic like when you're running with a football player or a hockey player? Must be kind of a cool dynamic to kind of meet new people and kind of show them your sport, so to speak.
Yeah, it definitely is. I think it's fun to like have a more variety of people.
It's cool.
But cross country is like cozy. It's like a little like family. I feel like we're a lot more close in cross country than we are in like track.
I would say it's cool. Like track, I would say it's cool to be running and be like, oh, I'm running right now with like someone who plays football, someone who plays something like basketball in the winter. It's just it's a cool dynamic.
Are there teams, going back to cross country, are there teams that you really like to compete against, or is it individuals from other schools that you like to compete against?
I would say for me, there are like certain, I don't know exactly like their names, but I'll know like faces of whom usually like running around on a certain team. For like example, like Middleborough, or Rockland, I always know like this one girl that I'm usually like around and that I like try to pass every time.
I would say something similar. We don't really have any big team rivalries, and it's not really almost like it's not a negative rivalry towards each other. A lot of the girls that I end up running with during the race, I've gotten to know them just because I'm always with them during the race, so it's more of like a positive relationship with each other.
So you get to learn from kids from other towns who are kind of at the same tempo, the same speed as you, who end up being your competitors, and so it gives you that motivation. They're like, I'm going to take her this time. Maybe she got me last time, but not this time. That type of thing.
Yeah, and it's more like, I feel like it's a lot more friendly than other sports in a way.
Yeah, I get that sense too, and it's one of the tough parts about trying to promote cross country is it's not a spectator sport, so to speak.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, you start at Memorial Field, so mom and dad and friends can kind of be there and cheer you on the starter's pistol or whatever. And then we wait for you to kind of come back out of the woods and get to the finish line and see what your time is. But that's actually an exciting part of it too, is when we can see you coming. And I've been there a couple of times where both parents and students from both schools start cheering to whoever it is that's coming in. It is a family thing. So whether it's a kid from Norwell or Rockland or Abington, there's a lot of positive encouragement coming from the fans and from other athletes on the team. Yeah, that's got to be a kind of a good feeling when you're burnt out, you got zero left in the tank, but you're trying to kick it in front of the crowd.
Yeah, it definitely helps.
A really good feeling. It's nice to know that people on other teams and our own teammates, they know how we're feeling during the race. They know how hard it is at certain points of the race. So hearing them cheering like me on and us on it's really nice.
Yeah.
It is, and you guys mentioned, you're young, sophomore and junior and stuff, so looking forward to next year. You got a good crew underneath you in the younger crowds that are moving forward?
Definitely. We have a very good young team. They are very talented.
Yes, and I think we're all going to move up together, and I think we're just going to improve every year as a team.
Great. So we mentioned cross country's in the fall, track and fields in the spring. What do you do in the winter?
There's actually indoor track and field.
Winter indoor track and fields.
So explain that to me and to the viewers at home. How is it possible that the track team has an indoor track team at Abington High School where there is no indoor track at Abington High School? How do you do that?
We basically just run around in the hallway sometimes. It kind of depends on the day. If we're able to go out, we try to go out, bundle up, lots of layers, try to keep warm.
For distance, we do end up going out. Like last winter, we did go outside a lot just because it can get a little dangerous in the hallway sometimes. Yeah. But it's definitely cold outside, and then once we have a meet, we'll all get on the bus and head to Boston to the Reggie Lewis track, and we'll run there. It's very packed in there with all the teams.
That's quite a facility in there. It's great to see the track program really growing, and I think you guys have done a lot to help us promote it, because it's real easy for our athletic director to promote your successes when you're winning or breaking personal records or things like that. What are the other things that you're involved in here at Abington High School?
I'm a part of Clue that Molly is directing. I'm very excited for that.
And are you on stage or are you behind stage?
I'm on stage. I'm Mrs. Peacock.
Are you?
Yes.
I'm assuming if people at home are familiar with the board game Clue and the mystery of it all and all, so it should be a great show. And I don't want you to tell me anything about it because I don't get any tips. What are other things you do either here at Abington High School or when you have free time at home?
Me and my family were very big in like religion, so obviously church and stuff. A big thing I actually started in about last year, a new club called Love and Serve. Yeah. So we just like try and do like fun little events or just ways to show like the community love and be able to give back and just show like the students love, because I feel like sometimes I feel like we're in this a lot more like doing school and like the ages, like we have like older kids can give a lot advice to younger kids. I don't think like we realize as much, so it's just like to show kids in like the school that like we're here for them.
Is that a school-based group, the Love and Serve?
Yes, it is. It's just a club.
I'm so happy to hear that because I think you're 100% correct. I think, and because you guys remember when you were in 6th grade and 7th grade and you looked up to the high school kids and you thought they were huge and they were gods or whatever, and you kind of wanted to be like them or wanted to get to know them. So anytime that a high school kid like you can talk to a younger kid, just to recognize that they're there just means the world to some of those kids. And it also helps to recruit for the cross-country team too, no doubt about it. But it is important because I think, you probably remember times in your lives when an older kid did something that affected you positively.
Yeah.
Right? So it's nice that you guys take the effort and recognize that and give back. And again, that's why people like, you guys, people really appreciate you guys. How about in school itself? Is there a favorite teacher, a favorite class right now? I know you're only halfway through your career as a sophomore and then almost 3/4 as a junior. You have a favorite class or a favorite teacher?
My favorite class is actually anatomy right now. I just started.
Anatomy, huh?
Yes. It's very interesting because I've always been the type of student who's like, this is my favorite class because it's like the easiest. But like anatomy isn't, it's not that easy and it's very hard because it's a lot of memorizing.
Yeah.
But I've just found it like very interesting and I've never like had that with a subject in school.
How about you, Vangy?
I'm kind of a mix. I have a couple favorites. I really like math and I really like science as well. And also I do like writing, so it's kind of like a mix of all.
You're well-rounded in that regard. Who's this anatomy teacher that's apparently attracting people to anatomy?
Miss Green?
Miss Green, huh?
Yes.
All right.
She's very good.
And while we're at it, let's give a shout out to your coaches for cross country. Who are they?
Mr. Campbell.
And Mr. Bennett.
Mr. Campbell and Mr. Bennett. And they run themselves a little bit? Are they runners? Or,
Yes, they are.
which is nice to have a coach kind of out there with you at times.
Yes.
So moving forward, if people want to get interested, younger kids want to get interested. I know they started a running club down at the middle school at one point. I don't even know if that's still going on, but what's the secret? Or let me ask it a different way. If someone has never really run more than a mile themselves, but they just are interested in cross country, would you encourage it? Would you tell them what they need to do before they step forward, or just kind of come on out and we'll show you the ropes?
I would encourage that they join just because it's a sport with so much improvement over time that anywhere you start, you know that you're going to get better every day.
Yeah.
Not every race is going to be perfect. You're going to have a bad season, maybe even like just a bad year, but you know that as you grow, you're becoming more mentally and physically tough. And I would also say to find a good support system, just because I can't imagine having to do cross country all by myself, practicing all by myself every day. I think it's necessary to have a good team environment around you to really push you.
Yeah, definitely.
So, like, speaking of your team, who are some of the other teammates on your team that just you're real proud of, the effort that they've been showing this year?
We have one freshman, Gia. She joined last year, and then we have another freshman who's also a close friend of hers, Noella.
Yes.
I think they've both definitely like shown like they have it in them for
Really?
cross country. They've been doing really well.
Very well, especially as being younger team members. They've almost like just joined and they've come out super fast, super hardworking, and it's just really nice to have teammates like that.
It's great that you guys say that, because I think some of the fear and hesitation of joining a team like that, cross country or track, is that kind of embarrassment. I don't want to be the guy that's pulling up the I'm always at the end. I'm falling behind the rest of the team. When they're out there running the roads, I'm never going to be able to keep up with them. Everyone's been there at that point.
Yeah.
But like you say, after a couple of weeks, you're not falling behind anymore.
Yeah.
How much time do you really need to build up that stamina, or how you just do it by continually running, right?
Basically, literally, like the new members who have joined, you see like there's so much more improvement in them than like other runners. Like each week, people are improving by so much.
I would say it takes a couple weeks. Obviously, if you've played sports before, you have some endurance. Like I know playing soccer before.
Yeah.
I knew what it's like to be like running around the field. So I would say it could take some time.
And I've also heard from a lot of different types of athletes and people who aren't like, on a team, that running to many people is kind of a mental health, has a lot of mental health benefits. Yeah. Do you feel that way too?
Definitely.
Definitely.
In what way?
I feel like it just takes off your mind on like what things are going on in life that might be like stressing you out. Like running is just like a such calming thing where you can just like listen to music and like just enjoy like the nature, looking around.
I would say that too. It's just like very grounding as you're running, and it's very different. Obviously in practice and in the summer, it's a different mentality than when you're racing. It's just like races can just be like so fun and like thrilling. It's just like such a fun environment and like a positive environment that just kind of keeps me going.
So for the viewers at home, take a look at these faces again with Alyvia and Vangy, because you're going to see them running around the streets of Abington. And when you see them, give them a little toot. Don't give them a long horn blow, because that can scare you a little bit. Give them a little toot, give them a little wave, keep them going. You and all your teammates. I want to thank you guys for being on here, because we were hoping to get some student athletes that could really tell us more about the great things in cross country and what it does for the school, but also what it does for the individual. And I think you guys explained that really well, and I greatly appreciate that. And I hope you'll see some more kids step forward, especially the younger kids.
Definitely.
You mentioned the 2 freshmen right now who are doing just great as freshmen, which is wonderful. But that says a lot about your leadership too. So congratulations and thank you for that.
Thank
Thank you.
I wish you the best of luck. Tobin Division champions right here, okay? They are the champions. Want to thank all of our guests today. Want to thank all the guys from Abington Cam, Matt and Kevin, who are helping us out to bring you this edition of The Buzz. We're going to follow the progress of these 2 young ladies through the rest of the season, and of course through winter track and then into the spring. And I hope you will continue to follow all of the Green Wave sports teams, whether it be the football, volleyball, upcoming with basketball, hockey, all sorts of things to do. Come on down to Abington High School, take in the show. It's a great show. And don't forget about Clue coming up in November at the Abington High School Auditorium. So for Abington Cam and for Abington Green Wave and for Abington High School, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you at our next taping of The Buzz.